As we talk about the 4 strike zones, your players must understand all 4. The first strike zone is the pitcher strike zone. Okay, as we go into a game, the pitcher's throwing pitches, it's away, it's away, it's away. We know that his strike zone's away. He's throwing 90% of his baseballs away. Then the second strike zone, so that's the pitcher strike zone. The second strike zone is the hitter strike zone. What you guys want that day. Okay? Now, if you're smart and he's pitching away, you're going to look middle away. But if you guys can't hit middle away, we need to adjust and get closer or do something. So if we're going to look middle in, then if we can reach that outside corner as middle and pull it, that's fine. So there's the hitter strike zone and there's the pitcher strike zone. Now, the final 2 strike zones are, one's really important and there's one that no one pays attention to. Okay, there's the umpire strike zone. That's the most important strike zone. Okay, whatever he's calling that day. If you get up there through the first 2-3 innings and that ball's 6 inches outside, it's probably going to be 6 inches outside all day. They normally don't give the inside pitch. Sometimes they do, but more times than not, they expand more on the inside, more on the outside than they do on the inside. So, and then of course that's the umpire strike zone. That's the most important. You need to know what that is. And then the last strike zone is the rule book. And that's supposed to be from the armpits to the bottom of the knee, to the curve of the bottom of the knee. And of course, as you watch ball games, no one pays attention to that. There are 3 grips that I like to have guys understand, have your kids understand. One of them is a standard grip, which is where the bottom of your hand does not really get onto the knob, and your top hand, as you line up the knuckles here, really the knocking knuckles line up. That's a standard grip. There's a split grip for kids that really have a little bit, the bat may be too big or they're smaller. We may split the grip here, and that gives the bat a little bit more opportunity to catch up to the ball. And then we have what is an advanced grip. When in the major leagues, a lot of guys will take their pinky and put it on the knob here, okay? And they'll bring this other hand down, which makes the leverage point much lower. For example, you look at my leverage point here on the bat is that long. Well, if I bring my hands down, I've brought my leverage point down, so I create a little bit more bat speed. So when I actually swing with this advanced grip, it actually feels like the bat is going to come out of my hand, or the bat's actually swinging itself. And that's what we're trying to get our kids to do. So when you do a drill, a swing grip drill with your kids, what you want to do is get them to swing regular, and you go, did you swing the bat or did it swing itself? And they'll tell you, well, I swung the bat. And you say, well, let's since you're strong enough, let's go ahead and put our pinky down on the knob. Let's get our hand on top and take a swing. And they'll say, did that bat swing itself or did you swing it? And they'll say, hey, that bat swung itself. And I go, now you're getting what you want. Remember now the 3 grips. A standard grip right here. Line the knuckles up. We want a little cocking in our wrists so that we have a little bit more power, okay? The second grip is a split grip, and that's for the weaker player, someone who's not catching up to the ball. Sometimes you can get a little rubber disc in there to separate their hands just a little bit. Not many people use this, but it's good. It's a good practice device. And then your last grip would be the advanced grip, where we put our finger down on the knob, and we can actually bring this hand down here, and also we can actually bring the pinky over, so now we have both pinkies off and we have great leverage. This is the setup or the ready position for the hitter in the box. As he's set up, a couple things we want to make sure. I always ask my guys to lay the bat down and put the barrel on their toe and the handle toward the pitcher. And we would like the width of that stance to be from the end of the bat into the handle, but not further than the knob. But then our stride can go no further than that knob. So just in the setup, we want shoulder width apart. We don't want it inside the handle. We want it into the handle so we have a nice solid base, okay? In that position, we want to be rocking back and forth. We want our player just to be rocking. Some guys will sway the bat back and forth. to relax, and all of a sudden the pitcher starts to pitch and they'll bring it up. We've got to have a relaxed position until he starts to pitch, and that would be the ready position. Coaches, this is the loading position and how to load. Coaches, what we're going to do is break down the loading process. And when we load, we want flexion in our ankles and our legs. So when I load and I get athletic, I go straight down and I don't go back. So when I load, I'm going straight down and then I stride, okay? In that load, okay, what's going to happen is I load in my hand, head stays still, and I stride and my head stays still again. If I load back and I stride, my head comes forward. And most players today, they push back to go forward. I like them to go straight down and get athletic. There's flexion in our feet and in our ankles, which gives us lift and power. Load, stride. Weight stays in that 70-30 position and the head stays still. Coaches, this is a little closer look at the stride. I like to call it a glide. When we look at the stride, coaches, we should always put the bat down. And what we want to do is tell our players, hey, when you stride, you're not allowed to stride any longer than the length of the bat. Because if we do, our hips won't work properly. As a matter of fact, I always tell players, stride longer than the bat and turn your back, get up on your back toe, and they have to force that hip to turn. If we stay inside our bat, that hip turns automatically. It's free to turn, and that's what we want to happen. So as we lay the bat down and we start out in our stance, we want the front toe in the handle of the bat, but we don't want it to go any longer than the length of the bat. And if we do, that means our hips are now slowing down. So as we look at that stride, we get into our load and we stride. We want to land on our big toe. We want that ankle to be in. A lot of guys land on the big toe and their ankle's out like that. We don't want that. We want that inside. We want the knee inside our foot and our ankle inside our toe. So we stay inside, and then we're ready to actually make that move with our lower half. Coaches, looking at the move position a little bit more in depth. All right, as we get into the move position and you ask your players to get in the move position and we go from the load, stride, and we start to move, it all starts with our back leg. That back leg's got to move. It's got to actually turn in, and we get a move and our hands get out front. And that's the move position. I can talk about my hand position. I've talked about it before. This hand is palm down, this hand is palm up, and that bat is inside. Okay, coaches? So what we want to happen, one of the best drills, I'm going to show you a quick drill we can do, is you put your hands on an imaginary wall and we load, we stride, and we move. And as you saw when I moved right there, my hands and shoulders stayed on the wall because I'm staying square. Load, stride, move. Okay? That's a great drill. Your players, the first time they do it, they'll put their hands on the wall and they go load, stride, move, and they'll open up. They think the first move they make is a turn. It's not. It's a move. Load, stride, move. And that's the movement we want to make on that move position. Coaches, let's take a closer look at the contact position. The contact position, depending on we're looking middle in or middle away, we've got a choice. We've got to make one of them. We can't hit it all. So I'm going to look right now middle in. So I'm looking for 3 inches from the outside corner all the way into my toe. Okay? And in doing that, I'm looking to catch it. How deep would I actually catch the deepest ball? I'd want to catch it right here, and that ball might go just right of center. I'm not going to get out here and hook it. I'm going to be right here, and then I'm pulling my hands right through to that inside. So I'm working from outside to in, contact, 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 all the way through to the inside. So as I make contact, you can see that my hands are moving, they're not rolling. one of the great things you can see, I'll be right here at contact. If I roll my hands, you can see the barrel jump over the ball. It just jumps right over. I can get this close to someone's hand, get right here, and jump it over and not even touch their hand. And what happens is the player goes, I was right on it, coach. I don't know what happened. You rolled over. That contact position, that hand, that release, this hand has to stay palm up all the way through that release. And that's the contact position. Coaches, when we go from contact to extension, what we want to achieve is the proper hand position and all the way through to extension. When we get to contact, and we actually get to the contact position, our elbow at contact should be into our body. It's a strong position. And then from there, we're going to extend. And as you see my back elbow extend, this is part of the extension. We get to full extension. And our hand, our top hand, is going to stay underneath the ball. We're not going to roll over it. We're going to stay on it and through it and get all the way out here to extension. And when we get to the end of the extension, then the hand will roll over. So as we get from contact to extension, the hand is going to be palm up, palm down, and the elbow goes from a flex position to an extended position, and that would be contact to extension.